Well, I want to give a big thanks to you, my friend, Vikram, associate and mentor, and to this minimum cost housing group family present here today, and even those not present. Life is about making choices, sometimes difficult ones. And I gave up a very rich career in New York City to come seeking answers here at McGill. What is the connection between design and international development? I am part of the original Edible Landscape team, both in Montreal and internationally. After my master thesis, I had another difficult choice to make. I gave up the idea of a PhD and instead went back to business as a designer. And I hope to be remembered as a social entrepreneur who uses business to solve societal problems. What I will present today, I hope will stimulate a good debate. It may be provocative to some of you, because you may think that what I'm proposing is maximum cost housing. Our company, Productive, is a design and technology firm that will enable builders to assemble and disassemble 4 times faster. We believe this will deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals, making communities more resilient. So, how are we going to design and build tomorrow? I would say that in terms of architectural tectonics, I'm not a believer in appropriate technology. That was a big theme at Minimum Cost Housing Group, but I don't believe in it. I believe in leapfrogging, sidestepping legacy systems to empower communities to become self-sufficient. This is a new gestalt, a new paradigm, where we can lead meaningful lives and purpose, give back more than we take. It was a transformative experience to work in these places. This is a picture for Colombo, Sri Lanka. And you have to, as a Westerner, eliminate the noise and learn to listen and smell and see with new eyes. So this couple here, this is Mr. and Mrs. I don't remember their names, they're written here. But they took me into their home, and all of these projects gave me a very intimate experience. And I want to make the argument that everything we do is ultimately about the people. You see Wayne Roberts here from Ryerson had a good role, Rome University. Late Marielle Dubeling here, Vikram. Of course, there's Lila next to me. Joined the team, and I don't see you on the picture here, but here we are, everyone assembled in the Botanical Gardens of Montreal to mark, I think, in the context of a launch at World Urban Forum. Was it 2006? Okay, yeah. And of course, the question that really stimulated us, and where Vikram had this leading thought, is, can cities feed themselves? That was the one question, I think, that spurred all of this. And we learned so much. This truthfully started out in Montreal, and I'm glad to see Leila continuing this great work. And we discovered there, we were 5 Chinese, 1 Indian, and 1 Norwegian one being me, who were sent out to the community and discovered this new thing, community gardens. And that's where the first publication, EL1, Edible Landscape 1, was kind of documenting this and set the stage for making the Edible Landscape the international project. Now, I took this knowledge coming back to Montreal and concentrated on the Griffintown, Point St. Charles neighborhood. And I observed that this forgotten neighborhood had a heyday in the early Industrial Revolution, and then had a steep drop and kind of falling into oblivion. And that's where I decided to put these ideas of the productive house into practice. And we built a full circular economy, managing water, energy, transport, greenhouse on the roofs, bakery in the basement. The bakery and the sauna heated the greenhouse, so no one complained about heating the greenhouse. We could sit there with a minus 30 degrees blizzard outside, watching naked our vegetables grow. And this is, 15 years before people start catching on with circular economy. So always been a precursor. Later you can go and see the movies about this project that has been widely published. Avi Friedman made an extremely good summary and display of it in his book Small Ecological Houses. I highly recommend it, and he explains it better than me. So I moved on, new choice in life, went back to start Productive, moved the business to Norway in 2020, and it's really about this idea of eliminating waste. Construction is a terribly wasteful endeavor. 40% responsible for waste, 40% responsible for carbon. It is stuck with innovation that dates 200 years. It's not the fault of these people here. It's the fault of that toolkit up there. So I went through several minutes, two series of 7 years, which I would call my crossing of a desert. Oops. I got lost in my slides here. I don't know what happened. Need to go back. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so during COVID and during this crossing of the desert where no one wanted to listen to what I was saying, no one. That's before the Norwegian government invited me to move back to Norway and start funding these ideas. I transformed myself from designing these joints for triangulation, for foundations and roofs, and also for squares. And so basically I figured that if I could design triangles and squares, I could design anything. So these geometries were scalable. I learned new tools like SolidWorks and CATIA. And basically the thinking is to, instead of making these houses to the right, we would start making houses like the car on the left. And for example, with Norwegian manufacturer Hunton, they make all these building components. We're basically reorganizing them into a modular process that we can put into a frame. And the frame, about 3 years ago, was just a grid that we could put over joints in and then construct a frame. This is very proprietary. I have like 3 patents now on joineries and industrial processes. But now the part where you put panels into the frame to stiffen it, like shear panels, is now an open source, creative license part of the business where we invite a lot of people to come and participate. And it works a little bit like this. I don't see the movie working. I said yes to something right now, so maybe it will actually play. That would be wonderful. So I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. So it is actually opening up in a different screen. I think the settings have to be done so that you can actually see this, because that's an important part of the presentation. But I will let that rest. There's a system that I just displayed, and the revolutionary part of this is that in a typical house, that American suburban home of 400 square meters, we can, instead of having 10,000 screws, we can have 400 click joints, which would revolutionize the output. Of course, we want to focus more on wood, but I'm agnostic when it comes to materials. I think we should use less of everything. And the solution to doing that is actually combining elements. So I think the result of using either steel or concrete or wood is the result of how the industry is structured, often dominated by lobbying. But here we have to be, as architects, integrators, who is able to see different ways to make hybrid systems. Our partners, they are actually coming from a whole supply chain where we globally source standard parts. We do local manufacturing, and to be told to your question about construction is local, we have a model where we can put any local materials or panel into that local manufacturing process through pop-up factories and satellite factories that are close to the end user. On-site assembly happens without screws and nails. No decisions are made on the site anymore. And finally, we have a digital platform that improves this whole process. Our markets is driven by the EU taxonomy, basically that focus on how to bring in financial actors and institutions into the aspect of reuse. We have won a major EU Horizon grant, several millions, now to try to codify and certify these processes into the new building standard in Europe. Now, I'm nearly done. Other projects that we're pursuing in Norway, on my farm, we're going to rebuild the old mill with our technology, using the power of the river to produce energy, create something like this in the wild nature of Norway using our click technology. And in Africa, we are working with several grassroots organizations to bring clean water and energy to 3 villages in Kenya, and ultimately empower vulnerable minorities such as women and girls to not spend their time fetching water, but it's providing clean water and energy using our construction system to deliver fast. Change can happen fast. We believe in an industrial process. I believe with industrial methods we will drive the cost down. I'm working with some of the leading companies in Europe, industrials in Europe, in France, in Canada actually, and in Norway to make this a reality.